Hi everyone, sorry I haven't posted a video this week. As you can probably hear a little bit, I'm still horrendously full of cold. I didn't have a book haul to share with you, and I didn't really have anything to talk about at that point because I was still working my way through Crooked Kingdom. Now I have finished Crooked Kingdom, so I thought I could do a book review on the Six of Crows Duology. First up, I'd like you to look in the information box down below and click on the link to the Book Archer's channel. That's Kashan. She did a very good non-spoiler review of the duology itself and pretty much said what I wanted to say about it. So I'd like you to go and check out her channel and her review and then come back here. Right, so now you've done that, I just wanted to add a couple of thoughts about what I thought about the duology, just for completeness for my sake. First up, I really liked Six of Crows. I thought it was a brilliant book. There were fabulous characters. There was so many to get your teeth into, and there was someone there that any reader would latch onto. I have to say the lead character, Kaz Brecken, he's not a nice piece of work, but there's something kind of magnetic about him that makes you like him, which is probably why he's got such a hold on the rest of the gang. There's that quality he has, and it's really hard to define, but something about him makes you respect him and want to be with him and like him, even though he's actually this guy with a complete barrier up, who doesn't let anybody in and gives us this whole I hate the world vibe and nothing you can say is going to change me. So I really liked him. I thought the supporting characters, or I don't even suppose they're supporting characters, as Kashan says, there's 6 main characters in this book. I thought they were all really well fleshed out, and as the story went on we got to know more about each of them. We learnt their backstories and how they ended up in the barrel in Ketterdam, and their reasons and their motivations for staying part of Kaz's group, and I think it was really well written. They could have come off as very two-dimensional characters, but they weren't. They were fully fleshed out people, and it was really nice to read a book that did that. I did think Ketterdam was very much like a Charles Dickens London, just sort of dirtier and grittier and slightly modernised, but not too much. Certainly the whole idea of Oliver Twist and I think a bit of Great Expectations came to mind while reading those early chapters, and then it sets off into this big adventure to complete this heist, which is effectively impossible, a la, as the back of one of the books says, Ocean's 11 style. So I thought that the whole description of the world was really good. I would like to add that I actually didn't know there was another trilogy by this author. I'd never heard of the Grisha trilogy, so I plunged straight in with Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom because that's what was on my library shelf. To be honest, I didn't notice that I was missing anything out. I just thought it was a fabulously well drawn world with some great characters and great concepts in it. So if you haven't read the Grisha trilogy, I know people are saying perhaps you ought to start with them, but for me personally, who didn't even know there was another trilogy, I didn't find that was a problem to the book. I plunged straight in and got on with it, and I like doing that with books. I'm one of these people that probably picks up the second book in a trilogy and then reads that first rather than the first one. I know it seems daft, but I kind of like throwing myself in at the deep end. But for this duology, I didn't feel like I'd lost anything by not reading that other trilogy first. I might find out when I've read the trilogy, eventually. There is stuff that I've missed, but nothing came across like I was missing a yawning great plot point or a character development or something. There was none of that. So these books are quite capable of standing on their own as a duology. I mean, even Six of Crows you could read just as itself if you didn't fancy reading the second half of the story. I would say you'd miss a lot out, but you would get the whole heist story told to you, and it would be very effective and very satisfying. People do tend to like the first book in the duology better. I think that depends on your point of view. Generally, in a series of 2 books, the first one tends to be stronger because it's set up and it's character development, whereas the second one is wrapping everything up. I found with Crooked Kingdom, it possibly took a little while to hit the ground running like Six of Crows did, but I liked that we had this nice pause between the 2 books where things are slowly being set up before diving headlong into the next run of adventure, because very much once everything kicks off in Crooked Kingdom, that's it. There's no slowing down, there's no breathing space, there's no let up. It's full on, right, we need to do this and this, and things really do go from bad to worse, which I thought was great. You're sitting there reading it and thinking, how on earth are these guys going to get out of this situation? Because you're looking at it thinking, there's no way this is going to work. They cannot solve this problem, they cannot get out of this situation, they cannot make it better, make it right. So I thought Leigh Bardugo did really well on keeping the tension up and keeping that pace going. I mean, it's a thick book, they're both thick books, so to keep it going over 2 books was really, really good. And the characters, they didn't stop developing at the end of Six of Crows, they carried on throughout Crooked Kingdom, so you learn even more about these characters and the relationships they were building up, and how things would fall apart between them. They were very much continued developing as a person in real life would keep growing if these events happened to them. So I thought it was really good, and I really enjoyed that. Certainly some of the romance developments worked pretty well. Some certainly worked better than others. I'm not going to spoil it for you, I want you to discover that yourself. Towards the end of the book, I actually did have to put the book down and grab a couple of tissues. It's been a while since a book has made me cry that much. Probably an Outlander's done it to me recently. So it shows you how much you do grow to care for these characters and this situation and what's happening, because it really was a, oh my gosh, I didn't see that coming, or I didn't want to see that coming. So I thought that was very well handled, and a very, very clever little moment that really completely and utterly wrenched my heart out of my chest and stomped on it into lots of little pieces. So that's just some of my extra thoughts on the Six of Crows duology. If you haven't read it, please, I'd like you to go and give it a go, because I think it's a really good book that's probably not getting as much acknowledgement in the UK that it should be getting. I think it's certainly one of the good ones from last year that was released, and I think it's a very worthy duology that's worth reading in its entirety. Too often you get a series of books that's a series of books for the sake of it, and the latter couple of books let you down. This didn't. I would love to see more of these characters and more of this world, and certainly I think there's potential there for at least some of these characters to have their own series. I don't know if we're going to get it. I really hope we do though, because I enjoyed this world a lot, and I'll certainly be checking out the Grisha trilogy when I can get my hands on a copy of it. I would like to point out, I don't actually own a physical copy of either book. Both of my copies came from the library. They were the oversized paperback version. I don't have the other one because obviously I've returned it. So I was really looking forward to picking these up from Waterstones, because they had a buy one get one half price, which was great, and they were both within the offer. The annoying thing was Crooked Kingdom was still the oversized paperback. Six of Crows was about that much shorter. And when you put 2 books in a set side by side, and one of your books is that tall and one of your books is this tall, it doesn't matter how much they match up because they're not the same size. It really, really bugs me. So unfortunately I left the copies on the bookcase. I wasn't going to spend, okay, it was a bargain, but I wasn't going to spend the money on 2 books that I would constantly look at the shelf and say they don't match, and just completely annoy me every time I looked at them, because I enjoyed the story so much and I love the characters so much, so I want the books on the shelf to look just right, and they weren't going to look right. Now I have looked up on Amazon, and I know there are others out there, for copies of the books that are the same size. It's really hard to tell because obviously there are different editions or different print runs of it, so some of the oversized and some of the slightly smaller paperback size. I just wish they'd do paperbacks in a standard size, it made life so much easier. But there is a box set of the hardback books out there that I will possibly pick up because it's quite a nice edition, one with the black page edges and one with the red page edges, and they're hardbacks and they're in a lovely box. That's quite appealing to me, and there's quite a few reasonably priced copies of that out and about. So when I get my new bookcase, I will hopefully pick them up and add them to the collection, because I enjoyed them really much and I want to put them back on the shelf so I can look at them and go, yeah, I want to reread them, rather than going in the library and saying, actually, I can't find them. So that's my little sort of added review of the Six of Crows Duology by Leigh Bardugo. I'm going to have to learn that one. I hope you enjoyed. If you've read the books, please let me know what you thought down below. Link me your review videos. That would be great, just to see what sort of things came up, what things you didn't like, what things you really did like, and just sort of see some common ground between all these reviews of actually two rather really good books. So thank you for listening to me. I'm going to stop now because my throat is actually starting to hurt, so I think it's time for a drink and a break. Thank you very much for watching. Bye everyone.